Here are moments in life that arrive quietly, no fireworks, no dramatic music, just a small realization that settles gently into your chest, and somehow everything changes. Today I stand in one of those moments. I'm getting married. And I know what some people think when they hear that. They imagine a perfect love story. They imagine two people who never argue, two people who never doubt, two people who somehow figured life out. But the truth is, love isn't perfect, and marriage isn't a fairy tale. It's something deeper than that. It's two imperfect people choosing to stay, choosing to learn, choosing to grow, even when things get difficult. Maybe especially when things get difficult. You see, love doesn't really begin when everything feels easy. It begins when two people look at each other and quietly say, "I see your flaws and I'm still here." That's the moment love becomes real. Not when everything feels magical, but when someone stays even after the magic fades for a while. Because life does that, life tests us, it breaks our expectations. Sometimes it breaks our hearts. But every once in a while, if we're lucky, we meet someone who doesn't run when life becomes heavy. Someone who doesn't disappear when things stop being convenient. Someone who stays. And when you find someone like that, you begin to understand something important. Love is not about finding the perfect person. It's about building something real with an imperfect one. And that's why I'm getting married. Not because life suddenly became easy. Not because love solved every problem. But because I found someone worth facing life with. Someone worth growing beside, someone worth choosing again and again for the rest of my life. And if you've ever truly loved someone, you know that feeling. It's not loud, it's quiet, but it's powerful. It's the kind of feeling that doesn't need attention, it just needs honesty. Because real love isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in the everyday moments, the small conversations, the forgiveness after an argument, the decision to listen when it would be easier to walk away. Those small things, they become a life together, and that's what marriage really is. Not a celebration, not a perfect ending, but a promise to grow, a promise to stay, a promise to face life together no matter what it brings. And that promise, that's the most powerful kind of love there is. Love is a beautiful word. People say it every day, sometimes without thinking, sometimes with their whole heart behind it. But love, real love, is something quieter than the way the world often describes it. It is not always loud, it is not always exciting. Sometimes it is simply two people sitting together in silence, knowing they are safe in each other's presence. Sometimes it is choosing patience when frustration would be easier. Sometimes it is staying when walking away might feel simpler. The truth about love is that it is not just a feeling that arrives and makes everything perfect. Feelings come and go like seasons. Some days they are warm and bright, and other days they feel distant, like winter clouds covering the sky. But commitment is what remains when the seasons change. Commitment is the quiet decision that says, "I will still be here tomorrow." And that is the part people rarely talk about. Love might bring two people together, but commitment is what keeps them together long enough to build something meaningful. When I say I'm getting married, I'm not saying that I found someone who makes every day easy. Life doesn't work that way. Every person carries their own history, their own wounds, their own fears and habits and dreams. When two lives come together, those things come together too. There will be misunderstandings. There will be days when patience runs thin and emotions feel heavier than usual. But commitment means understanding that those moments are not the end of love. They are part of the journey of learning how to love better. Commitment means remembering that the person standing in front of you is not your enemy. They are your partner. They are someone who is trying just like you are trying. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a relationship is simply slow down, breathe, and remember why you chose each other in the first place. The truth is that commitment is not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't always look impressive to the outside world. Sometimes it looks like compromise. Sometimes it looks like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like admitting you were wrong. But those moments are the foundation of something strong. Anyone can love someone when life is going well. Anyone can say beautiful words when everything feels exciting and new. But real commitment shows itself when things become uncomfortable, when the illusion of perfection disappears and two people begin to see each other as they truly are. That's when love either deepens or fades. Because at that point, you are no longer loving an idea of someone. You are loving a real human being with flaws and fears and complexities. And here's the quiet wisdom many people learn too late. The right person is not someone without flaws. The right person is someone whose flaws you can face with compassion instead of resentment. Someone who is willing to face your flaws with the same kindness. Because we all have parts of ourselves that are difficult. We all have habits that need patience from the people who love us. Commitment means choosing not to weaponize those weaknesses against each other. It means protecting each other's vulnerabilities instead of using them during moments of anger. When two people learn to do that, they create a kind of trust that is incredibly rare. A trust that says, you can be fully yourself here, and I will not turn your humanity into a reason to hurt you. In a world that moves quickly, commitment asks us to slow down. It asks us to invest time in understanding someone instead of expecting them to match our expectations perfectly. It asks us to listen, really listen, even when we think we already know the answer. Listening is one of the most underrated forms of love. When you listen to someone without interrupting, without planning your response, without judging them, you are telling them that their thoughts and emotions matter. That kind of respect builds something deeper than attraction. It builds connection. And connection is what allows love to survive long after the excitement of the beginning fades. There is also a quiet courage in commitment. It takes courage to promise your life to someone because none of us can see the future. We don't know what challenges will appear or what changes life will bring. People evolve. Circumstances shift, dreams transform over time. But commitment says, even though I don't know what tomorrow holds, I choose to walk toward it with you. That is one of the bravest decisions a person can make. It means you are willing to grow together instead of growing apart. It means you accept that the journey will include both joy and difficulty, and you are prepared to face both with the same loyalty. And loyalty, that word carries a quiet weight. Loyalty is not about blind devotion or ignoring problems. Real loyalty is about honesty and presence. It means being truthful with each other, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It means speaking with respect instead of cruelty during disagreements. Loyalty is standing beside someone when they are struggling, not because they are perfect, but because they matter to you. In a loyal relationship, people feel safe enough to admit their mistakes. They feel safe enough to ask for help. And that kind of safety allows both people to grow into better versions of themselves. One of the most important truths about commitment is that it is not a single decision made on a wedding day. It is a decision that repeats itself every morning. Every day you wake up and choose how you will treat the person beside you. You choose whether you will respond with patience or irritation. You choose whether you will listen or dismiss. You choose whether you will nurture the relationship or neglect it. Marriage is not built by one grand promise. It is built by thousands of small choices made consistently over time, and those choices accumulate. They shape the emotional environment of the relationship. Over the years, they either build warmth and trust or distance and resentment. Another quiet truth is that commitment requires humility. No one is always right in a relationship. There will be times when your perspective is incomplete. There will be moments when pride wants to defend your ego instead of protecting the relationship. But humility allows love to breathe. Humility says, I may not see everything clearly. Help me understand. When two people approach conflict with that mindset, arguments transform into conversations. Problems become opportunities to learn about each other instead of battles that must be won. Because the goal of love is not victory. The goal is understanding. Sometimes commitment also means supporting someone's growth even when it changes things. People evolve throughout their lives. The person you meet today will not be exactly the same person 10 years from now. They will gain experiences, face challenges, develop new perspectives. Commitment means giving each other the space to grow without fear that growth will destroy the relationship. In fact, the strongest relationships are the ones where both people encourage each other's evolution. They celebrate each other's progress instead of feeling threatened by it. They understand that love is not about keeping someone the same forever. It is about walking beside them as they become more of who they are meant to be. When I think about marriage, I don't imagine perfection, I imagine partnership. I imagine two people learning how to face life together. I imagine quiet mornings with coffee and honest conversations. I imagine disagreements that eventually lead to deeper understanding. I imagine moments of laughter that remind us not to take life too seriously. And I imagine difficult days when one of us feels exhausted or discouraged, and the other steps forward with patience and support. That is the reality of commitment. It is not a flawless story. It is a shared life. And the beauty of a shared life is that it multiplies meaning. When you experience joy, there is someone to celebrate with you. When you face hardship, there is someone who helps carry the weight. Human beings are not meant to navigate everything alone. We are built for connection. We are built to support each other through the unpredictable rhythm of existence. Commitment honors that truth. It says that love is not just a moment of emotion, but a long conversation between two souls who choose to keep listening to each other. So when I say I'm getting married, what I really mean is this: I have found someone I want to grow with. Someone whose presence makes the world feel a little steadier. Someone whose imperfections I can accept and whose strengths I admire. And more importantly, someone who looks at my own imperfections and still sees a future worth building. That mutual acceptance is the foundation of commitment. It allows two people to be authentic instead of pretending to be flawless. And authenticity is where the deepest love lives. The truth about love and commitment is simple but powerful. Love begins with emotion, but it survives through intention. It grows through patience, honesty, and daily effort. It becomes stronger each time two people choose understanding instead of pride. Over time, those choices transform love from a feeling into a home. A place where both people know they belong, even on the days when life feels uncertain. And that is why commitment matters so much. Because when love is supported by commitment, it becomes something enduring, something steady, something capable of surviving storms. It becomes a quiet promise that says, no matter how complicated life becomes, we will keep choosing each other. And in a world that often moves too quickly to notice what truly matters, that promise is one of the most meaningful gifts two people can give each other. Love doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with two people who carry stories. Every person who walks into a relationship brings pieces of their past with them, memories of trust, memories of disappointment, moments when they felt deeply loved, and moments when they felt invisible. Some people carry heartbreak quietly. Some carry fear they don't always know how to explain. And when two people decide to build a life together, those unseen stories sit at the table with them. That's why healing matters so much in love. Not because we expect each other to arrive without scars, but because we learn how to care for each other's scars with patience instead of judgment. The truth is, many of us were not taught how to heal properly. We learned how to hide pain, how to pretend everything was fine, how to keep moving even when something inside us was still hurting. But relationships have a way of bringing those hidden wounds to the surface. Suddenly, the things we thought we had forgotten show up again. A small misunderstanding can feel bigger than it should. A moment of distance can feel like abandonment. These reactions don't mean someone is weak or broken. They mean they are human. And when you love someone, part of that love is understanding that healing is a process, not a destination. Marriage at its heart is two people promising to grow through that process together. It's not about fixing each other. No one has the power to fix another human being. What we can do is create an environment where healing becomes possible. An environment where honesty feels safe. Where someone can say, "This hurt me," without fear of being dismissed or ridiculed. When people feel emotionally safe, something beautiful begins to happen. They start to open. They start to trust. And trust is the soil where real love grows. Forgiveness plays a quiet but powerful role in that process. Because no matter how kind or careful two people are, mistakes will happen. Words will be said in frustration. Misunderstandings will appear when emotions run high. In those moments, the strength of a relationship is not measured by the absence of mistakes, but by how those mistakes are handled. Forgiveness is not about pretending something didn't happen. It's about acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and deciding that the relationship is more valuable than the moment of hurt. Forgiveness requires emotional maturity. It requires stepping outside of pride and seeing the situation from a wider perspective. When someone you love makes a mistake and genuinely tries to make things right, forgiveness becomes an act of compassion. It says, "I see your effort to grow, and I'm willing to grow with you." That doesn't mean ignoring patterns of disrespect or accepting behavior that damages the relationship. Healthy forgiveness includes boundaries and accountability. But it also recognizes that people are capable of learning and changing when they are given the opportunity. Choosing someone daily is one of the most honest definitions of love. Many people believe that love is something that simply happens to us, like a force we cannot control. But lasting love is not just something that happens, it is something we practice. Every day we wake up with choices. We choose whether we will show appreciation or take things for granted. We choose whether we will speak with kindness or let stress turn into sharp words. These small decisions shape the emotional atmosphere of a relationship. Some days the choice to love someone feels effortless. On those days, laughter comes easily, conversations flow naturally, and everything feels aligned. But other days are more complicated. Life brings responsibilities, fatigue, uncertainty. On those days, love becomes quieter. It becomes a choice to stay patient when you are tired. The choice to listen even when your mind is busy. The choice to offer support even when you are carrying your own worries. These moments may not feel dramatic, but they are the ones that truly define a relationship. Choosing someone daily also means remembering why you chose them in the first place. Over time, routines form. Life becomes busy. Responsibilities pile up. It can become easy to forget the simple appreciation that existed at the beginning. But appreciation is something that needs to be nurtured. Sometimes it is as simple as pausing for a moment and recognizing the small things your partner does, the effort they make, the patience they show, the quiet ways they care for you even when they don't ask for recognition. When appreciation becomes part of everyday life, love feels alive instead of routine. Healing together also means learning how to communicate honestly. Silence can sometimes protect peace in the short term, but over time unspoken emotions build walls between people. Honest communication breaks those walls down. It allows two people to understand each other's experiences instead of making assumptions. But honesty must be delivered with kindness. Truth spoken without respect can feel like criticism. Truth spoken with empathy becomes an invitation to understand each other better. One of the most powerful things someone can say in a relationship is, "Help me understand how you feel." That simple sentence creates space for connection. It tells the other person that their emotions matter. It invites vulnerability instead of defensiveness. When two people approach disagreements with curiosity instead of accusation, they transform conflict into learning. They begin to see that even difficult conversations can bring them closer. Another important part of healing together is learning to let go of the idea that love should always feel perfect. Real love moves through phases. There will be times of excitement and discovery. There will be quieter seasons where life feels more stable and routine. There will be moments of challenge when external pressures affect the relationship. These phases are natural. They do not mean love is disappearing. They simply mean that love, like life, is evolving. What matters is the willingness to continue choosing each other through those changes. When two people keep showing up for each other, something extraordinary happens over time. Their bond becomes deeper than attraction or convenience. It becomes trust built through experience. They begin to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. They understand how to comfort each other during difficult moments. That familiarity becomes a source of stability in an unpredictable world. Choosing someone daily also means allowing them to choose you freely. Healthy love is not built on control or fear of losing someone. It is built on mutual respect and independence. Two people can stand beside each other without losing their individuality. They can pursue their dreams while supporting each other's journeys. In fact, when a relationship encourages personal growth, it becomes stronger because both people feel valued for who they truly are. There is also something deeply healing about knowing someone believes in you. When a partner sees your potential even during moments of self-doubt, it creates a powerful sense of encouragement. They become a reminder of your strength when you forget it yourself, and that kind of support often inspires people to become better versions of themselves. Love at its best does not limit who we are, it expands it. Marriage is not just about sharing a home or signing a document. It is about building an emotional partnership that evolves with time. It is about standing beside someone through the chapters of life that neither of you can fully predict. It is about understanding that growth, forgiveness, patience, and daily choice are the real foundations of lasting love. So when I say I'm getting married, what I mean is this: I have found someone I want to keep choosing. Someone I am willing to grow with, learn with, and heal with. Someone who understands that love is not about avoiding difficulties but about facing them together. And every morning when we wake up, we will have the opportunity to make that choice again. Not because we are forced to, but because we want to. That is the quiet beauty of love when it matures. It becomes less about grand gestures and more about steady presence. Less about dramatic promises and more about consistent care. And over time, those daily choices create something strong enough to withstand life's uncertainties. They create a partnership where both people feel seen, respected, and supported. In the end, healing, forgiveness, and daily choice transform love into something deeper than emotion. They turn it into a shared journey of growth, a journey where two people walk side by side, learning how to care for each other more wisely with each passing year. And when that kind of love exists, marriage stops being just a milestone. It becomes a quiet commitment to keep building something meaningful together, one day at a time. Loyalty is often misunderstood. People sometimes think loyalty is blind obedience or staying somewhere because leaving feels difficult. But real loyalty is far more subtle, far more powerful. It is a choice rooted in respect, trust, and understanding. Loyalty is not just about being present in the easy moments. It is about staying when life gets messy, when emotions are raw, when the world seems to pull you in every direction but toward each other. It is about saying, "I am here. I see you. I choose you," even when saying it is quieter than any public display. And in marriage, that kind of loyalty is the foundation that allows love to deepen beyond attraction or convenience. Respect is inseparable from loyalty. You cannot truly remain loyal to someone you do not respect. Respect in a relationship is about seeing your partner as a full human being, not a reflection of your expectations or desires. It is about acknowledging their feelings, their boundaries, their individuality. Respect means listening without interrupting, responding without contempt, and valuing their perspective even when it differs from your own. When respect exists, conflicts become opportunities for growth rather than battles to be won. Disagreements do not diminish love, they illuminate the humanity of both people and invite understanding. Respect also includes honoring each other's growth, allowing the person you love to evolve without fear of judgment or resentment. Emotional maturity is what turns loyalty and respect into something enduring. Emotional maturity is the ability to stay present without overreacting, to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, to forgive without holding grudges, and to communicate honestly without attacking. It is the quiet strength that recognizes that relationships are dynamic, that feelings fluctuate, and that misunderstandings do not define the relationship. Emotional maturity allows two people to navigate difficulties with patience, understanding that anger, fear, or disappointment are temporary storms rather than permanent truths. It means choosing empathy over ego, compassion over defensiveness, and long-term connection over short-term satisfaction. In a marriage, emotional maturity often shows up in the small moments, letting your partner have the last word, not to win, but to listen, pausing before speaking in frustration, choosing kindness when tiredness tempts you toward harshness, quietly supporting them when they feel unseen. These moments rarely appear in stories or movies, yet they are the moments that build a real, lasting bond. Loyalty without emotional maturity can become rigid or controlling. Respect without emotional maturity can become distant or transactional. But when loyalty, respect, and emotional maturity are aligned, they create a space where love can grow resilient and free. Another truth about loyalty is that it is not passive. Staying present in a marriage is not simply about physical proximity, it is about emotional presence. It is noticing when your partner is hurting even before they say a word. It is choosing to engage, to comfort, to celebrate, to listen. Loyalty is the courage to be vulnerable with each other, to reveal your fears and hopes, and to trust that the other person will not abandon you in that vulnerability. That trust is hard-earned and must be maintained through consistent action. Saying, "I love you," is not enough. Every choice, every response, every small act of care reaffirms that love. Respect, in this context, is more than politeness or avoiding conflict. It is reverence for the other person's inner life. It is treating their thoughts, emotions, and experiences as valid and worthy of attention. It is holding space for them to express themselves fully without fear of judgment or dismissal. Respect also manifests as the willingness to compromise, to adjust, and to meet each other in the middle. But compromise does not mean sacrificing your integrity. It means finding solutions that honor both individuals while nurturing the relationship. That balance between self and other is what transforms respect into something sustaining. Emotional maturity also involves patience with imperfection. Marriage is not a union of flawless beings. It is the meeting of two imperfect souls who are committed to growing together. There will be moments of frustration, disappointment, and miscommunication. Emotional maturity allows couples to navigate these moments without escalation, without resentment. It allows them to step back, reflect, and return to the conversation with clarity and compassion. It teaches that being right is less important than being connected, and that understanding often matters more than winning. In addition, loyalty, respect, and emotional maturity reinforce each other in a cyclical way. Loyalty encourages patience and presence, which deepen respect. Respect encourages empathy and listening, which foster emotional maturity. Emotional maturity strengthens loyalty by helping couples remain steadfast through challenges instead of reacting impulsively. Together they form a foundation that is not fragile, but resilient. It is a foundation capable of weathering life's unpredictability, the inevitable disappointments, the fatigue, the external pressures, and emerging stronger on the other side. In practical terms, this means cultivating daily habits that honor these principles. It might be as simple as actively listening during a conversation, offering a small gesture of support without expectation, or acknowledging and appreciating your partner's effort. It means checking in emotionally, not just logistically. It means taking responsibility for your own actions, apologizing sincerely when necessary, and forgiving generously when warranted. It means choosing each other even when it is inconvenient, even when it requires patience, even when emotions run high. These small repeated actions accumulate into a culture of loyalty, respect, and emotional maturity that shapes the identity of the relationship itself. Ultimately, loyalty, respect, and emotional maturity are not just skills. They are commitments to each other as full, evolving humans. They are promises to remain present, to honor each other's individuality, and to navigate life's challenges together with care and integrity. In a world where relationships can be superficial, where emotions are fleeting and commitments are often conditional, cultivating these qualities makes love not only possible but enduring. It allows a marriage to move beyond attraction and comfort into a space of deep, soulful partnership where both people feel valued, supported, and truly seen. Marriage, when guided by these principles, is no longer about perfection or fantasy. It is about the courage to stand together, the humility to grow together, and the wisdom to understand that love is not static. It is a living, evolving practice. Loyalty ensures that you do not abandon each other. Respect ensures that you honor each other's humanity. Emotional maturity ensures that you navigate life's storms with clarity, compassion, and connection. Together, they form a quiet but unshakable walk side by side, in strength and humility, for as long as life allows, and to create a shared life that is honest, tender, and enduring.